Hello, Weathersfield, Connecticut, United States, America, and modern nations. We are in a semi-ancient trap, and this is about how to think. There are five bonded values, as also simultaneously as value progressions, also simultaneously as the value of that. The first one, so each one is a trinity, each one of these values. And we can discern this because how it is a semi-nature and how it is as only when it's only the extent of its value progressions as a semi-nature, as humanity's is now, parted from the identity of value progression that is evolutions, working with the ground, where nature's identity of relationship to itself causes positive value nature progression acts means out of nowhere, evolution's fruits and gifts. See, or it demonstrates, with exceptions and demonstration of the same thing. Exceptions where force, space, nature transfer leads to these. See, because we're rewarding the wrong things as victims, as victim predators. See, they don't know how to speak for this for American people. Our experts on logic, they're criminally foreign influenced premises treatments, criminally foreign influenced sequence treatments. Now, what criminally foreign influenced, everything associated with what I'm about to tell you here. Sequence true, before the order of the finite, is one identity of sequence nature. One identity of sequence nature is after the finite, and while it is in the active, and then into the progressive, into the identity in these five parts. The reason it is necessary to see, because individually grouped and together, this is why we are each individual, an identity of volume as an individual of its own nature. The one that the identity of value progression, only the extent of it is debatable, that there is one identity of value progression that is all others at the same time as a nature of volume. And this identity of volume, its identity of relationship to itself, just like all the identities of volume have distinct identities of relationship to themselves and the value of that to themselves and to other identities of volume grouped and all together. So all together, so a cell nucleus, cell body, cell wall. It's one body of value. It's one identity of value, of volume. It shares the other cell walls, share that together too. Not just physically stronger. What is coming through that is more and more forever nature, being made through temporary nature. Only the extent of it is debatable. And what is proof of this is when people do debate such, they debate it using sequence shifts and premises treatments that are recorded self-value to get away with we're having physical delusions and the sequence shifts. And from what is actually manifested, actually relevant. Like, for example, criminally foreign influence database relationships, self-value. When it comes to the question, what are Jim Crow laws about? Criminally foreign influence database relationships, self-value. Where did those criminally foreign influence database relationships come from? Since before computers, they came from a breaching organized crime method using human fact sheet nature, which is what is nature? It's identity. It's this identity of volume. It's a quality of diffusion. We are not a stagnant temporary positive. We are increasingly valuable, perfect value progression in relation. We have value nature systems of tactical ulterior from this. We have opinions. They have to pretend they're about opinions because they're involved with database organized crime. Everyone. That's what made them victim predators. Having come through campuses tactically, criminally re-engineered in some ancient times since before modern religions. That's what modern religions. That's never said. That's never attached to them because they have to keep the concept of religion and of science and of law separate. Not because the separation of church and state is because they're psychopaths. You think they had slavery? They're going to be the law. Their laws are what you could say. Everyone was a slave. Can't get mad at the guy who they labeled Uncle Tom. Not by exploiting the abuses of women, even women like Harriet Beecher Stowe. You know, let alone the women most hurt by the crazy breaching laws up against what people would say. Now see this and the counters to it also in collusion, perfect world forsaken. Defenses of that were propagated to maintain criminally foreign influence premises treatments, to maintain criminally foreign influence sequence treatments that no one was ever want to catch everyone on. The proverbial devil, worse than actual organized crime method, worse than war crimes. Only seeming complicated because it juxtaposes all these other motivations, natures, needs, interests. All I have to do is free speech and mandated law. Connecticut has been offensively stealing people's speech, intercities, from my town, intercities, worse than interstates, since before our founding parents were born in this town. I'll gather around between New York and Boston was never free. So this is how you think. There's one identity of sequence nature. I'm not a doctor. We delineate their delusions from their criminal foreign influences. One more person says prejudice. I can't believe that. How many times are they going to say, well, that's our opinion. That's how we want to counter. Where did that go? That's a breaching influence. That's not what. That's preventing release. That's because it's nonsense. It's not a real premise. Fake sides of correlation nature, mass scale. But that's democracy. Well, that's when we have to change it through voting. Follow mandated law. You guys, there's too many people at once for the logic of what they pretend is. Oh well, we're bringing up because they bring up these contexts because they got backed into using like what they call Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security. These people are involved with all kinds of evidence crime, identity crime, database crime. The people supposed to be against crime because they're misprisioning, propagated, only capable of being lipoaggressions further and further to what was set up to keep that needed because it was already set up criminal right there for them to hide it further so they could use them either there, how they're actually standing known. This was sophistication here before any nature of sophistication they pretend is. They use names in science. Then they defend that because they can't defend the integrity. They can't defend uses of the identity ground locations. People want to feel positive about, which we should. This is a method preventing integrity that's not fake integrity. Fake warmth. See, well, what is hotter than hot and colder than cold? The lungs belong to warmth. We see lost control of the campus messiah system revealed by the ancients. The republic for which we stand revealed by the ancients actually before criminally foreign influence sciences in itself its database tied system since before modern religions messengers, thank God for them, for preservation of the republic for which we stand. Multi-front. See how Islam helped preserve algebra, helped lead the people who carried on the still captive message of Jesus Christ, because they still have the captive sciences. Each age and nature of campus doesn't matter if it's a different kind. This is one. This is where and how we are identity of value, of volume. This is why we're supposed to understand why, how, and why we're a species. Individual identity of volume, grouped. Sex is about how this is how semi nature is only positive as simultaneous nature, and how because it's it's shifting part of its value constantly, and that's lifting its complete volume. Its complete volume is coming in. So this is an identity of the ground relationship to itself that can't help but have another identity of volume, invisible but discernible value with and as the value of this. Because one Trinity's identity of relationship to itself is inseparable from even the smallest value, while it is the order of the finite. So then we come to the order of the finite, from the smaller than the smallest thing. This is why finite is in the word definite. This is why the in indefinite, in the definite article, is the. The indefinite article is an or the. So we say an apple, an orange, because the vowel comes first. But it's not just these sounds have an identity of relationships to themselves. The 26 sounds of the English language. I forgot. I think it's 24 letters of the Arabic alphabet. I'm not sure. I forgot. See, because they have what is unequal, actually, that we should address that is unequal. Incapable of being addressed because how each age of, each nature of, and each stature of campuses is maintained criminally foreign influenced. Now, campuses are revealed with the ancient republic as a concentrated value relationship, as where our volume of science, individual group, it's not just sexes. And this is why we all come from a mother. It's where each identity is the nature that is in the temporary phase of where lasting forever nature is making more of itself through a quality of diffusion as what is temporary, making more of what is lasting as the identity of the body of forever. English was revealed to be taught this way. In many pray. See, what denies this is also has evidences. That's why we have the same circular arguments, because they have either overtly sick arguments or they have people describing overtly sick arguments sick. Premises treatments, fake sides of correlation nature's actual value progression discernment proper. How overall before matter, before there was anything physical, one identity of value progression, its identity of relationship to itself, and the value of that was is self-generating. And what that looked like was invisible but still discernible. Invisible, and we'll examine how science reveals this. Invisible but still discernible, inherent, active, and progressive. Three identities of volume. Not only generated by this identity, its identity of relationship to itself and the value of that, the body of forever. But in that order, right to left and left to right, and what is coming from that simultaneously, where each one is gaining at the same time. As its identity of relationship to itself, and the value of that is then gaining these three identities of volume with like a stronger than anything could ever be. Spine can't be broken. Body of value only increases. See, those that's where the is my theory is my cell theory that the cell nucleus and the cell body and the cell wall are manifest in demonstration of this as three simultaneous natures, as positive nature. They're three sequence natures. When they're only sequence nature, individually grouped, it's the negative value nature. Even when they're individually grouped in together, there are two identities of sequence nature. Before the order of the finite, the smallest part of the element of a cell, and one in relationship, and one where and how what is bigger than like with what is coming between the cells. The cell walls are connected though, but still water and air comes through this. And this is for our fact treatment nature to understand how we're in an identity of negative value nature progression. Humanity. So when you hear people use passions and stuff like that, they will only do that to fight for opinions that are recorded, effectively propagated, have nothing to do with logic, with integrity and honesty, but everyone pretending on a mass scale, because no one is allowed anything other originally and still. When did that stop? That's why it's so important not to blame things on prejudice. It's so important to have a quality of fact treatment nature that is aware up front. Until you can't. The most critical thing is to understand that breaching organized crime method using human fact treatment nature, using its defenses of that, propagated, only capable of on a method that sustained Native Americans till they lost their memory. They lost their ability to hold on to their actually recorded sophistication they had. They wrote in fake history, stories they wrote, not correlations, which is uses of that, uses of their premises treatments, uses of their sequence shifts, uses of their physical delusions to discern what is really his and her story and positive onto itself. That unfathomed, that word means or couldn't believe come out of nowhere because it's real. Where do you think everything came from? That's only with debates, pretends to others. It starts theorizing other formally, scientific consensus, scientific process treatments recorded, their premises treatments and defenses of them, criminally foreign influence. all only getting away with identity ground locations, opinions on a mass scale. Again, one breaching method, each age of campus, each nature of it. Further, kept needing to hide life progressions from that. And then further, intersciences kept needing to hide for other reasons. Further, all that everyone that comes on off it juxtaposed with this. Further needing to self-value with that connects with intercampus of each age, nature, and stature to all industries, all roads, routes, highways, value progressions, no. Identity progressions, no. See, we're in an identity of negative value nature progression. They maintain self-value, knowing they can perpetually use remote, the phenomenon of what we call modern nations, each one not fathoming it, individually grouped in together. And where they could fathom this, they can't be honest about it. Each position of it. Even now, this is the same thing that's in collusion with the pretending other with the same people, all locations, areas, and states. And science is recorded, abridged. Abridged science is identity ground relationship to our quality of fact nature as the identity of volume it is, and as the identity of volume of relationship to itself it has, and as the value of that effectively tactically exploited easily, unchallenged. Self-valued roles with it. Now, so you have to, so this is vertical and horizontal with the adults that already came through that, needing to hide life progressions. For self-valued roles was already perfected. Intersciences, identity, ground relation. This is sophistication before any of the abridged sciences were ever any kind of expertise in relationship to that. This is more important expertise right here. You heard it here first. This is, and I don't want it's not for my name to be glorified, to end it's to deal with real. This is the algorithm. Allah's name is revealed to teach about algorithm, where English and Arabic are grouped, bonded languages, the same way English, and distinctly, non-distinctly, and simultaneously the same way English, the same way English and Latin are. So, for example, habeas corpus, habeas certiorari rights, like Latin phrases, like quid pro quo. See, they effectively already used quid pro quo to have entertained opinions in relationship to that, used as means to communicate collusion with how they're going to hide already state Connecticut inter cities and interstates, and worse, has predicate acts with databases, illusions, falsified police reports, mail crime, wire crimes, falsified transcripts into the databases, attaching little kids and their family members to fake locations, intercities, on and off campuses, attaching students to fake locations on campuses with other students, with military police involved also, leading up to the World Trade Center attack in those contexts and since. They also attach me to fake conversations about police surveilling my father. These are people recorded, confessed, and demonstrated also involved with dozens of people from the Britain Superior Court, Hartford courts, and their families involved with crimes on body dumping spots, and with the person of a serial killer, and of people associated with reported and confessed body by a Faenza family. Also, a Fazina family recorded, confessed, demonstrated also rolls with other houses in that area on two highway. Now, this defines a family also recorded, confessed, demonstrated, revolved on and off the state judicial branch offices and with people in that area and all along that route that goes by there, Route 3, involved with various natures of organized crime, involve people with a Dillon family, and with wire crimes and mail crimes involved with them. See, everyone speaks through other people, and these are judges that forge and switch names, also with prosecutors involved with them, also with an Arch Pizza, also further with a Mike Pete, and and people with the name Kerr, and a bunch of people with the name Kerr, Kerr, and with the officer Jerry Miller, further recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved this whole semester. Now they're going into another semester. They're lying about what I speak online because they're already invested with the database crime rules. So I can't call up because they'll lie further into records. Then they'll want to make it a problem about that, but separate it from the rest of the things. Box things. They have whole predicate act delivery system methods used. They already involved all the various departments at Central Connecticut State University, all kinds of ways, with all these private businesses tied to the Weathersfield Police Chief's family, extended family members that sought me out to confess and demonstrate their roles with this Mayano family. Also recorded, confessed, demonstrated. A whole bunch of people tied to him with sequence shifts, all like with my neighbors. I never knew him when they were hanging out when they were in school together. Now, see, they have that involved with sequence shifts, whatever they were involved with on and off Two Rod Highway, where it runs into Hang Dog Lane and into Two Rod and into the Berlin Turnpike before the heart of Hartford. That's also involved with this. Intercampuses of each age and nature. Central Connecticut State University, 2 cities over, Trinity College, UConn, Wesleyan. They've been involved through time with interbranch and with all tied to them private, like campuses, like prison cliques, like all their stewards and their communications with each other, criminally foreign influence used remotely, kept needing to hide live progressions, kept needing to self-value roles with knew that was going to happen, already perfected mastery used to the suits and tie, fake positive natures, fake integrity natures, uses of the roles worth and indifferent to uses of psychology, psychiatry too, all that. The identity ground locations where they have where people need help the most, where things are most critical, they need to keep contained. Quality of fact, achieving nature, correlation nature. Its actual means to know what could even be fathomed. So we have to bring new means in right away. For example, to bring different money systems in, different money defense systems in, because they're keeping those as positions where they have pseudo healthcare, pseudo medicine care, and just overt organized crime. It's just interbranch collusion with them, because they have the phenomena. They're exploiting phenomena anomaly with databases with medicine and with healthcare, where they could just pretend that people with the faith, leaving kids and adults, and they're at the same time attach them to fake locations, fake relationships to doctors through time. I just remind. There are doctors like that who tell lies with judges because they have to keep their criminal uses of their crimes with areas already. Every fact, cheaping nature, value. They used those formal law identities of law. They use black and white sick. They differentially want to be referred to themselves as color, but then they don't. They never allowed honesty to speak for what is nothing to do with that. It has to do with what it has to do with that is increasingly is because the method there. That's only value to see that. So they want to make it about prejudice because they want to obfuscate what is actually recorded, and they want to stick falsified things in, misprision. They need self value. They self value the tactically pseudo educated words. It's not because, oh, well, that's because that area doesn't have money, so their campus is not going to be good. Well, we're gonna all go. We're gonna pat them on the back and cheer them when they go into school. Every time they open their mouth about using other kids' names, fire departments, those people, you guys are still criminally foreign influence. Respond on here for the people forging names, switching names with this Inspector Mike, with a Chris Walters. This is Washington, D.C., World Trade Center. Our sides rolls with a whole bunch of other nations. I don't even know the Saudi woman and families associated with West Farms Mall, NBC, Connecticut News. Please help. Please fix the fake news. WFSB. Predicate acts, their roles with judges with this, prosecutors, state's attorneys. When you go on their locations, they make recorded confessions demonstrated. They forge switch names also tied to their confessions because their uses of time treatments always too fast, too slow. Lying, making confessions, then pretend we had a conversation. Pretend they then want to lie about I had basically no conversation with them at all. I was arrested. They made falsified police reports. Not only did they lie about they were going to investigate that, they furthered that and the roles with juxtaposed intercities police forms, former director of the FBI down, military police families, and Eric Burgess. He's confessed, recorded, demonstrated. He asked me for help. I never saw him on the campus of Central Connecticut State University in my life. Him and a whole bunch of other people recorded, confessed, and demonstrated before the World Trade Center attack. They were having problems on and off campuses with police forms and with people from courts and military influencing them to what is it was I wasn't sure how to word it because there's so many different, but influencing them to or database crime roles with and uses of locations for this. These are also locations, people involved with that, and confessions are from that strangers when I was a kid in relationship to it. The same spots where a serial killer, his body dumping spot was reportedly there. That person himself is involved with predicate acts and cover-ups of it with various natures, dozens of people from the Britain Superior Court, Hartford courts, their family members, just dozens from each place. Then they're stacking lies about people they don't know. That's all that is involved with falsified police reports by police. Because they're sequence shifting, they have readings of statutes where they'll give them the benefit of doubt in court. So they're hiding from mandated law while they're stacking more and more database crimes. Sequence shifts. They're making they're taking pictures of people communicating where they force the interactions like kids. So then when they talk, they can say, "Oh, we have a picture of them." Not in sequence. I never knew these people anymore. I never had anything to do with the people I was in grammar school. So I don't know what the extent of it is with this former Mayor Gold, but him and his Debbie Gold and her brother, and now they got how many people involved with it, and other mayors also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with the Fines family, with people on and off the state judicial branch offices. Again, all along that route through cities, intercities, interstates, WFSB, on off WFSB locations, involved with them with predicate acts with this Dillon family, my new and past neighbors, state police, former director of the FBI, witness protection program, all tied to the street. That's recorded. This is stories. This is truth. See, but they can't take stories and truth at the same time because all they've heard and done was stories. They can't follow mandated law. Their roles with wire crimes, pretending to be investigating things, but knowing that's what it's already recorded. That they lied about, they attached me to fake words with the media through the media. The media is being, they have to defend their identities, or they suffer where they have to fight at litigation levels. That's how other nations are keeping this outcome. The Morrow family also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with it. A Hanson family also recorded, confessed, demonstrated, involved with it. A whole bunch of people from Central Connecticut State University since before the Obama administration. They used the Obama administration remotely. They recorded how they're using the Trump administration forced, not free speech too. This is how on and off Paul Manafort Drive. There are judges, there are police forms, foreign and domestic, there are training of prison stewards, there are family members kept criminally foreign influence, people that work with the Department of Children and Families. Those doctors, they're involved with the worst patients and criminals and murderers. They're involved with area crimes with them first. All intercity, all kinds of people with my Wethersfield police chief, with my Mazzucato Bakery, Modern Pastry. They're making fights with them. With me, I don't even know them. They don't know me. They're pretending other with their roles with WFSB, federal crimes, with federal agencies, and with the people involved with the witness protection program, and with also with overt criminal enterprises like that one. That per them, per how they form groups, no criminally, and per Los Solitos involved with them, and other gangs. Also with the people on and off the two route highway, with the further judges and detectives retired and standing, prosecutors retired and standing, further crimes with child sex offenders proven. Those their family members are further involved with other natures of organized crime with the kids, boys and girls. They're sequence shifting. They're attaching little kids to fake locations, categorically telling lies, pretending they're just, oh, that's because of the sensibility. They don't like that person, that person. They're faking those things. They're starting trouble offensively too, but they're putting roles with their collusion, where they have interbranch family members and investigators' family members involved with criminal enterprises of other natures of them, other natures and motivations for roles with them originally and still. Now, to see this, you have to see how they're not following mandated law, how they're stealing me and other people to fake words. That's why they have fake YouTube accounts pretending to be me, fake Facebook pages pretending to be me, people tied to me through time. They need to make a problem about anything so they can pretend, oh, it's just about this. These are the identities of the ground locations, and then where they live. Even where they live personally. They have their family members even recorded. All kinds of wire crimes involved with Judge Killian. And I saw him on talk about how he has family involved with it, with his area. Say we have all the parts of Hartford distinctly, non-distinctly, and simultaneously involved with formal drug crimes and other nature of drug crimes, untimely deaths, and wire crimes. This guy has roles with people with Facebook, child sex offenders. He has federal crime, falsified police reports, physical delusions with. We have to be able to counter the physical delusions and the sequence shifts of identity conversations, fake conversations with doctors, where that these judges are involved with various natures of courts and their prosecutors at once, and with the private doctor, all the foreign and domestic involved with this. Now they also said they also demonstrated, in other words, they communicated that the end of Town Line Drive, and that police forms associated with Town Line Drive. Police forms all along that route that goes up to CCSU from Wethersfield, Connecticut, on and off that, are involved with their falsified police report database, fake transcripts, racketeering, sequence shifts, uses of what is of roles with that, other natures and methods of motivations of roles with organized crime acts. That's why you have to follow mandated law. Don't pretend they can have an election now. Don't pretend that already they didn't involve the town offices and the church locations further involved with this. They have further the kids programs. Further, they have a science place in town. Recorded, confessed, demonstrated. Further involved. Organized crime method that keeps them needing to high life progressions. How they're doing it. So we have the Department of Transportation, Department of Motor Vehicles. Also, it does, and these are people from my town that went to my colleges and universities that I never saw on those campuses. See, but they were involved with this through time database stacking and then exploitations of it. Time. So Joe Aiello was also recorded, confessed, demonstrated involved with them interbranch with online wire crimes with kids, and with mayors, with Washington, D.C., World Trade Center clicks, involved also with overt criminal enterprises, with houses on my street involved with him, crimes with guns with kids, crimes with evidences related to that. Fake integrity. So get them to one name and sequence, because interbranch, they forge names and switch names while they're falsifying police reports. We haven't been, we're stacking with fake recorded things. Get them on paper now. And then note they put me to fake yelling with women. So watch. Because could get, in other words, I went on some strange woman. I wouldn't yell at some strange woman in a hospital. See, they have people that keep them scared, rightfully, because of psycho. What's is them in collusion with overt criminal enterprises. We're examining this actually recorded. Psycho is them involved with a serial killer. Recorded how they kept needing to hide same criminal uses of the location, same sequence shifts, finite, active, progressive lives, roles leading up to the World Trade Center criminally. Because of that, the roles with that also tied to the confessions, uses of DACA, uses of marketing programs on off Central Connecticut State University, all along that route up to Central Connecticut State University from my town. People recorded, confessed, demonstrated, involved. Organized crime with a Walters family I barely know. Only contexts I know them in are them recorded, confessed, demonstrated, involved with predicate acts and our roles with predicate acts on and off Central Connecticut State University, intercities, on and off private campuses involved with predicate acts on and off Wethersfield campuses, uses of private kids that live next to the campuses. That interact with the people, with the businesses next to the campuses criminally. So I believe there's also state police involved with why and how they brought up the Lincoln Town Car and some pot. Okay, respond for other people involved with this Pandoff family also, and this Yagman family, because there's Anthony Yagman still active on Facebook as one of the ones involved with these doctors, with the drug crimes and fake conversations with me. I never had a conversation with anyone in my life about police equipment. Now these are people fake. He had fake conversations with me too, forging names of Dr. Shamsi Ali, who I got to confess over the phone. He said that they did that knowing he would not be working there any longer. Because those guys didn't want. I didn't. They kept me for 3 days for mental evaluation in a Hartford hospital. A guy who worked there already had his family involved with all kinds of drug crimes with kids and with prosecutors and with judges retired and standing, involved with them with various niches of predicate acts like roles with overt criminal enterprises with kids and with falsified police reports, wire crimes, mail crimes, identity thefts. Now these are people with local 230, also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated Wethersfield police. Wethersfield police also recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed that local 230 and other locals, like locals associated with Stop and Shop, are being used not for politics, where they pretend it's politics. They're kept needing to hide live progressions, which were affected by them having been used and being used remotely. So don't have them pretend they can have an election, and don't have them pretend that those sequence shifts in the Connecticut news predicate acts slash illusions aren't realized by themselves. They use the crime method of having other people answer the phones. They're recorded consciously in collusion where everyone speaks to other, and that's used criminally. And then they say, "Oh, we'll let the courts decide." This is originally instilled where how those courts and their family members are recorded and involved with all kinds of federal crimes with databases, with everyone speaking through others. You have them pick one name and sequence into branch, get down, or gather round. Now, that's what you do. Who has the title? Respond here. Pick one name and sequence for them. I'm not going to entertain. You can't have communication with them. They're physically delusions raw, and they're criminally foreign influence. And they made those confessions. Who denies this? Have them pick one name and sequence. Get them into writing now. I asked for I was a kid for something in writing. They won't give anything in writing. Courts criminally know that they don't give writing. They just put a charge fake, falsified, switch the officers' names, all kind of database crimes, predicate act, delivery system, method, roles, bonded, called prejudice, keep it right. See, it's real simple. The fake science. No one spoke for it. No one, honesty never spoke for Hartford, Connecticut, let alone cities throughout modern nations. We have to blame the right things, though. Otherwise, we would break down. Otherwise, we can't find who's forcing that we blame the wrong things on others, and we're needing that. We claim each modern nation victim simultaneously. We contain. We do whatever we have to do. We just it makes it better, but better for them, better for everyone. To make convince nations not to use nuclear, and not to let any nation continue like that's their solution.